Good morning, I am Janelle. I am an artist and I love to do plein air paintings. So today I'm going to do an acrylic gouache painting, and we are biking on one of our pipeline trails. And this pipeline supplies water down to the Ward Cove mill site. It used to be a pulp mill that closed in 1997. There's a dam that supplies the water that dammed up Connell Lake. I actually did a vlog, an art vlog, up at a trail at Connell Lake. You can check it out up above if you're interested. And this pipeline just supplies water, still supplies water to the mill site, even though now it's been repurposed into a cruise ship port in a partnership between a private company and Norwegian Cruise Lines. So I haven't been able to bike this trail a lot in the summer because I do e-bike tours here and they'll have a huge number of people. We had kind of a problem with my craziest border collie. We usually just will ride right past all the people, but one day this lady was right in the center of the trail, barely biking, she looked kind of scared, and so I had to stop to get out of her way and go around. But that made my border collie Audrey spin around to see why we were stopping, and when she spun around, she hit the front wheel of that lady's bike and knocked the lady down. I profusely apologize. It was really embarrassing. So I stopped biking here while the tourists were here. But the tourists are gone now. Our cruise season is done. So let's get down the trail and make some art. If you enjoy painting, if you enjoy drawing, art in any way, if you enjoy the outdoors, this is a perfect channel for you to follow. I'd love it if you'd subscribe and join our community. It's inspiring to me to see your comments, hear your ideas. So anyway, let's get biking. Okay, we finished that section of Pipeline Trail, and now I'm going to the Ward Creek Trail that starts right here. I want to see if you can see those beautiful mountains behind me. We're losing light in the morning, but we still have some beautiful sky, some nice clouds, so I'm really hoping we can find a really nice view in the muskeg. All right, let's get down this trail. There's kind of a cool tunnel that goes under the road that's over here, so let's go ride through that. So here we are on Ward Creek Trail, and here is the muskeg where I plan to paint. First I'm going to go visit the waterfall though. Oh, it's all frosty and beautiful. Oh, that's going to be fun. I want to note too about the woman that got knocked down by my dog Audrey. She was fine. It was a very gentle tip over. She was angry, understandably, but I deeply apologized. I tried to help pick up her bike. I didn't realize how heavy e-bikes were though. So they have a guide with them, and the guide helped her, and they went on their way, and she was okay. I've done an art vlog before on this trail. If you'd like to check that out, check the card out up above. I'll put that up there. This is a really nice trail. There are a lot of tours on it in the summer though. Not e-bike on this trail, but a lot of walking tours. I used to do walking tours here. It was really fun. I could meet people from all over the world and share the beauty of our place with them. Here's the waterfall. The salmon are done running up it though, so it's pretty quiet right now. Sometimes you'll see bears down there, eagles up in these trees, catching fish. But right now it's just a beautiful waterfall. This is Ward Creek. Goes down, makes sense, into Ward Cove, where the cruise ship port is. Let's get to painting. Well, judging by the frost that's out here, I'm guessing that it's probably about 32 degrees. I'm going to try to paint without my gloves and see how long my fingers can stand it. It'll be interesting to see how en plein air goes in the winter. It's getting dark in the mornings. I'll probably have to change my schedule a little. Anyway, I'll show you my setup with my acrylic gouache here. I have these 3 little brushes. I have a tiny little filbert from Rosemary and Company, a medium filbert. I guess I didn't realize I brought 2 filberts, and then this flat that is an Artify brand that's kind of softer that I got for a gift, and I kind of like it for acrylic gouache. So I have my little bead box that I got from Walmart that I use as my palette. I have a wet paper towel with some parchment paper over the top that works really well as a mixing space. And then I have several colors. Some of them are kind of mixed together. I have yellow ochre, lemon yellow. I have some orange and red mixed together here, titanium white. I have Prussian blue in here mixed with a little bit of purple, and they're not really mixed. I have them kind of next to each other, so it's kind of a little bit of a mess, but it's nice to have a little bit more color. Ultramarine blue, sky blue. I have a green mixed in with that one. Not really mixed, but it's dabbed on top. And then I have some raw umber. And I recently, when I was on vacation, you can see a vlog of that trip and the art I did up there. Put a card. And then when I was down there, I went to an art store and bought some burnt umber so I could get a little bit of a darker color. I don't know if you could see that, but I'll take a different color and I'll just kind of blob it on top so that I can still access both colors sort of by just moving my brush around strategically. And then I always bring a paper towel in my little metal water cup. And I was carrying extra water in a metal flask, it's like a whiskey flask. But yesterday when I was out painting, I pulled it out and it was almost empty, and everything in my pack was soaking wet. I think I dropped it on our floor. Our kitchen floor is concrete, and I think the seam on the bottom broke. So I am utilizing this little sanitizer bottle left over from the COVID days to carry my water. And if you have been following this channel for a bit, you'll see I made a wet paint carrier out of this cardboard box. It was a keyboard. Keyboard came in this box, so I just taped my paper in. This is some new paper that I bought while I was on vacation. Also, it's a little higher quality. It's acid-free. I'll put the name of the brand in here during the edit, but I've been really happy with it for the acrylic gouache. It works well. I'm just going to leave my paper in here. I've just recently started doing this, and then I can set my paint set on top, and it ends up being almost like a little pochade box. Very, 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 very rudimentary. I'm going to start with, this is my usual procedure, I'm going to start with this slightly larger brush. And I just kind of get in the basics, get my water here. Actually going to like this water carrier better than the flask because it has that snap top. There is my view. I probably won't do the whole breadth of this. I'll try to just focus on the most interesting aspects. I like that hill. And then just trying to get the values in. The sky obviously is the lightest. Darkest are that hill and back, this bank of trees in front, and then probably the middle value is this muskeg, which usually is a real reddish color, but this morning it's frosty, so that'll be an interesting color to capture and different. Use the sky blue first for the sky. Whew, that's too powerful. There we go. Some more white. Some interesting clouds in there today. Try not to be too fussy on these morning paintings. I don't have a lot of time. Got some work to do today. It's Monday. I work for the Ketchikan Daily News. I cover city topics, art topics, and education. Keeps me pretty busy. Okay, there's sort of the rudimentary sky. Some kind of bright, a little bit of yellowish over here where the sun's coming through. These clouds have a little bit of a warm tinge to them. Alright, so let's get that mountain in there. Just going fast. Not being too fussy. A little bit of ultramarine, some yellow ochre. It's very, very dark. Might even get some Prussian blue in there. And then there's a bunch of mist coming across. Let's see if I can capture that. And there's this ridge back here that might be kind of hard to capture. I don't know. Clean off my brush a little bit because some very intense brightness back here that I want to capture. Get a little more of this mist in here. I think I need more water. Maybe do this a little bit. I might switch real quick to my filbert for this next bank of trees here to get the tops of them. They're very dark, so I'm going to use my Prussian blue. There's a little purple mixed in there. Might need to wait for that to dry a little bit. Some taller trees there. Kind of nice that this is not quite dry because now I can get this misty effect that's happening over here. Getting a little more color as we go down. Sometimes I just like mixing on the paper. It seems more interesting sometimes. I'm going to wait for that to dry a little to get some of these more defined trees in. There's some kind of definition up here happening too that I'd like to get in if it's dry enough. I think I'll need my smallest brush for that, so I'll wait. Get some of that misty effect going on here. A little red in this mixture to kind of neutralize it a bit. Mostly mixing my own greens. I do have a bright green there. I don't love it. It's kind of a very artificial tint to it. Yeah, we'll put a little more ochre in that mixture. Gets very dark here at the bottom where it meets the muskeg. I hear ravens flying overhead. They have such loud wing beats. It's so nice to be out here just listening to the waterfall and the birds. Not much bird song at this time of year. Mostly hear ravens and eagles. We have a lot of bald eagles. Don't hear any eagles yet this morning, though. They stick closer to the salt water after the salmon are done running in the creeks. So let's see if we can get this interesting muskeg color, this frosty muskeg. This is something I actually haven't painted before, so let's see how that goes. Let's see, we'll start with like kind of this orange color and then add a bunch of white, maybe a touch of red. Well, this acrylic gouache does get plasticky when it dries, but I've had really good luck with this bead container keeping the paint stays pretty moist. I've had this in here for actually a few months, and the edges are kind of plasticky, but it has stayed pretty good for the most part. It's not been bad. Okay, so gonna warm that up. So I'm going to vary the color in here quite a bit so it doesn't get boring. Found overlapping starting from the bottom to the top, then it doesn't look natural because then it looks like it's overlapping the wrong way. So if I start from up here and overlap, then the closer things will overlap the farther things, which makes more visual sense. So that's what I'm going to do. Kind of vary the colors. It's pretty white because of the frost, so try to capture that. I'm going to break up this very, very straight line with some of the little trees and shrubs. There's not really shrubs, it's just a lot of little stunted trees. The trees have a hard time growing in the muskegs because they're so boggy. They have very few nutrients in the soil. It's very, very wet, very, very cold year-round. So that's kind of a good start. And then I'll get some trees in there, little trees. And get some highlights now into these mid-ground trees. A little ochre, a little yellow. Maybe a little bit of sky blue. Let's see what we get there. Just kind of get a little bit of highlights here. Go ahead and put in some of these little tiny trees now that I have my smaller brush out. too light. That's not the right color. Almost need a pale violet for the top of this snow-covered. Let's see if I can capture that color. A little too violet. There's a lot of texture on it between the snow, but I'm not going to try to get too fussy. Let's get some of these trees in here that will help break this up. So many little tiny, these are little tiny bull pines all over the place, struggling to grow. But that'll kind of help break up this foreground a little. Get in my little trunks. Get some of these darks in here where there's a lot of the bull pines. So I'm going to try to get some of these frosty looking evergreen foliage in here. Oh boy, that's very white looking, much whiter than usual. So I'm going to see how that works. Use some of that weird looking green. Oh boy, that's pretty light. Maybe too light. There's a lot of light over here. Use some of this burnt umber that I just bought. I don't know how that's gonna, just to sort of define these trunks just a little bit better. I meant to bring my little liner brush for this fine work, but I grabbed my little filbert instead, so I'm doing my best. My coat is shedding feathers. That's probably about as precise, as detailed as I want to get for today. I could overwork it. Might put a little more white in that sky and call it good. This is where I'm glad I have fresh water so I can get back into the sky without too much mud happening. So maybe a little more wash so it doesn't white with some water so it doesn't look quite so harsh. Maybe do almost like a glaze, I guess. I don't know these techniques terribly well, but I'm going to add a lot of water and sort of soften that up a little. Maybe get a little bit of that sky color in here to sort of unify things. Use my smaller brush. I don't know. The sun is sort of brightening up, so I'm trying to capture some of that. I should probably stop there, but just kind of experimenting here because it looks pretty cool right now. Okay, I'm going to stop there. My camera's going to run out of batteries. My toes are getting cold. My fingers are getting cold. And this is how I bring this home without the paint getting all over my paint cups, is I just flip this piece of parchment paper over. Then if I want to do any touching up at home, I can still use that. So that works fairly well. So there's my piece. This is probably a little too orange. Let me show you what the scene looks like right now. I think I probably should have brought this up a little more so it's not so horizontal. But look at that mist. The sun has come out a little more as I've sat here. It's just so beautiful. It's hard to catch that subtleness, especially with acrylic gouache, which tends to be a little bit kind of hard-edged. In my skills, I've only been doing acrylic gouache since, I don't know, maybe 6 months ago. May, June, July, August, September, October, 5 months ago. So I've been painting in oils. Also, I haven't really painted landscapes before I started this channel in May. So landscapes, acrylic gouache, all this is pretty new. It's a really fun challenge. I'm glad you came along with me today. It's time to ride my bike back to the car and get my breakfast and get started with work. I'm so glad that you came along with me today. It's very inspiring to have you here. I'd love to hear your comments, your suggestions, and how I can do better. And I would love to hear about your artwork. Thanks for joining, and stay creative and have fun.